Remember the Xbox Live Arcade era? This was a time when indie games and smaller downloadable games were all bundled under the Live Arcade moniker, instead of the ID at Xbox nickname they're given today. And although it began prior to the release of the Xbox 360, it's the period between 2005 and 2013 that's remembered most fondly. This was Microsoft's first major venture into the digital download territory, and it ended up working like a treat. It gifted us some amazing titles that are still played today, thanks to the Xbox One, X, and S's backwards compatibility. When Xbox Live Arcade wrapped up in 2013, over 600 games had been released throughout its lifespan. Its closure coincided with the release of the Xbox One, with the ID at Xbox program announced in August of the same year. I miss Xbox Live Arcade in its prime. So let's take a walk down memory lane together and remember some of my favorites, and maybe yours, from the arcade catalog. Let's start off by addressing my absolute favorite game, Castle Crashers. Excuse me for a bit while I gush over how much I love this game. Like, come on, look at this game and tell me you don't love everything about it already. I remember downloading the demo and playing it over and over with my brother for 3 months straight. It wasn't until Christmas where we finally purchased the game outright and then played it from start to finish properly. The beat-em-up genre lent itself to some of the best multiplayer games of old, and Castle Crashers picks up right where old titles like Streets of Rage, Final Fight, Golden Axe, and Gauntlet left off. The game maintains the feel of those classics with a combination of button-mashing combos and a simplistic RPG experience and coin system, while offering an original yet beautiful visual presentation that one cannot help but fall in love with. Again, look at this game. There is a deer shitting itself on your screen. Sign me up! The game may have been a long time coming, but the level of polish and sheer amount of content makes Castle Crashers a near perfect execution that all future Xbox arcade titles should have aspired to be. When you finally get a good game going with a couple of your friends, there are a few other co-op experiences on the 360 or any other console for that matter that can rival Castle Crashers. It's so easy to jump into a game that virtually anyone can play, but there's enough of a challenge and competitive edge for those who want to compete with friends instead of just playing for fun. When I was younger, my brother and I definitely got into some heated conversations when we had to fight each other in-game to get a kiss from the princess. The core gameplay of Castle Crashers involves running around, jumping, performing light and heavy attacks, unleashing magic spells, and using items such as potions and a bow and arrow. As you can see, it's a pretty simplistic setup, although there are plenty of segments that deviate from the traditional beat-em-up formula. For example, you'll find yourself getting chased by a large monster, fighting your allies for a princess's affection, and riding around on goofy-looking animals. The boss battles are dope too, and you will thoroughly put your skills to the test as you hack and slash away at the hulking monstrosities. If you can't quite topple a boss, you can always grind to level up, allowing you to spend earned skill points to increase your character's base stats and purchase new weapons. I remember this boss in particular giving me a hard time and the water creatures never letting me get back up on the fucking logs. Buying weapons, finding unlockables, and going through the game to reward yourself with another playable character was a beautiful cycle of gameplay that was so rewarding. And the best part was that this game was only $15, literally a steal of a game. To this day, I will still purchase this game wherever it's released, PlayStation, PC, and now the Switch. Honestly, I'm waiting for a mobile port just so I can buy it there too. If you've never played Castle Crashers, play it now. I will literally play it with you. I will buy it for you. On to something a bit different. Here we have Geometry Wars Retro Evolved. Developed by Bizarre Creations for the Xbox 360, Geometry Wars was initially a minigame in Project Gotham Racing 2. At one point, this version of the game held the record for the most downloaded Xbox Live Arcade title. And damn right it did. Look at it. The visuals, while made up of simple geometric shapes, are surprisingly stunning. The use of its vibrant, glowing colors and wonderful particle effects make this game look like the skyline on the 4th of July. At times, the explosions of light are so intense that you feel the game could crash at any moment. And on top of all of this, the music is a fun techno beat that never gets old. It's still on my Spotify to this day. To play, you simply move your little wheel two-dimensional spacecraft around with the left analog stick and shoot by holding down the right analog stick. The controls handle perfectly, which is necessary as you will carve your way through thousands of enemies for hours of fun. Speaking of enemies, they vary from giant space snakes in simple squares to giant black holes, all of which look surprisingly cool. The entire time you're playing, you feel like the ghosts from Pac-Man are on your tail as you dodge what feels like hundreds of enemies at a time. It may be a simple 2D game, but this little mixture of asteroids and Galaga looks great for what it is and is super fun to play for a minute, an hour, or the whole day. I did that once. I played this for a whole day. I don't regret a single thing. But do you want to know the best thing about it? It's $5. $5! What can you get today for $5, and is this fun? I spent countless hours getting lost into this game. Hours that I would gladly experience again if I could. It reminded me of my dad's favorite game, which is Galaga. He would always tell me about how he set the high score on his college dorm's cabinet back in the day. Whenever I played this game, it brought a smile to my face thinking about my dad's experience and how it came full circle, and I loved that. By the way, if you had any, let me know your favorite Xbox Live Arcade game in the comments. I'd love to know your picks, because the next pick for me is Gotham City Imposters. Gotham City Imposters was one of those ideas that were just wild enough to work. The premise was that Batman ditched his crime-fighting duties for whatever reason, leaving an army of costumed individuals with delusions of grandeur to take his place. An opposing force of Joker fans stand in their way and everybody has guns. This game was something nice to play after sweating your ass off in Call of Duty. It was a fun little game to mellow out to and wonder how something so odd could be so fun. It's one-dimensional and straightforward, but it's well put together. Plenty of people picked up the controller and said, oh, this is just like Call of Duty. It's easy to aim, run, switch weapons, and everything else you'd expect from a first-person shooter in 2012. The controls felt good and it ran well, especially for an online title where you're dying and getting thrown right back into the action. While you have your normal weapons such as rifles and machine guns, unlockable support items and gadgets like the spring shoes, the glider cape, and roller skates were also tossed in. You could use boomerangs, glowing green goggles to see through walls, and personalized calling cards so your victims know who smoked them. Something that was just getting popularized back then. The flat trees and blocky visuals aren't impressive, and outside of the deathmatch, the modes are kind of meh. While perfectly functional and crammed with unlockables, there's at least like a level 500. It really amounts to just 5 maps, a sense of humor, and the Batman licensing. I think the reason this worked so well was because you didn't have to take it so seriously, whereas other FPS shooters during this time were the complete opposite. While Gotham City Imposters was slowly dying out, it had an opportunity for revival, but it completely flopped. Ever since that game died, I just haven't found another fun, mindless game to spend a couple of hours in with some friends, which is why I still think about it today. Alright, now for my last pick. Yeah, I'm only doing 4, sorry if you might have wanted more, but maybe we can get a sequel going for this video sometime. But don't worry, I have some honorable mentions. Where was I? Right, State of Decay. Listen, I know zombie games are meh now for the most part, but back in 2013, these games were the talk of the town, and State of Decay added a lot more talk into the zombie town. Yes, State of Decay is an open-world zombie survival game, but what's not obvious right away and glorious once you dig into it is that it's a full-blown role-playing game, a fantastic one at that. Switching back and forth between one of the several characters, you'll travel across the multi-town desert region recruiting new survivors, searching vacated shops and houses for supplies, and managing relationships with the people you encounter, both those in your party as well as other humans you're not aligned with. And if you're not aligned with them, fuck them. Leave them to the zombie fodder. Health is scarce here. The zombies can move as fast as you once they're alerted. And what's more terrifying is that you can only run for a short period before you're gassed and need to stop for a breath. This game really added to the zombie genre. For the most part, all we had during this time were story-driven linear pathed games. With State of Decay, you had a story to follow, but if you were like me, you just wanted to see how long you could last in this apocalypse. I never got to beat the game, but I heard the ending wasn't the best. However, the overall gameplay and concept was so good that Xbox greenlit a sequel. Personally, for me, it didn't feel as good as the first. It could be the nostalgia talking, but nothing could quite beat the feeling of playing the first title. The time I spent with State of Decay reserved a special place in my heart. As for some of the other games that share the same special place, we have those honorable mentions to talk about. A Kingdom of Keflings, Super Meat Boy, Alien Hominid HD, Battlefield 1943, BattleBlock Theater, Trials Fusion, Doritos Crash Course, Alan Wake, American Nightmare, and so many more. Xbox Live Arcade games were great. They allowed us gamers to play something that for the most part was cheap and affordable. It showed me and so many others that you don't need to spend $60 on a game to find it enjoyable and fun. These little jam-packed experiences helped pave the way for more indie games to see the light of day. I firmly believe that without some of these classic titles, we just wouldn't have some of the best games that are here with us today. So thank you, Xbox Live Arcade. I know you go by a different name now, but I will never forget the past and the fond memories you gave me all of those years ago. Alright, enough of the past, let's talk about the present, like why video game cosmetics are bad and need to change. You haven't seen my last video? Go watch it now! Bye!